Hey there, this is Andrew bringing you another Keyforge deck reveal and review. I almost opened this one up while I was finishing up the last video, so you need to pay better attention. I already saw this one has logos, unfortunately, but I mean, not unfortunate that it has logos, but that I saw without being able to guess. But Constant Irequeen Egorov, I'm going to guess, Brobnar, and Untamed. No, so wrong, so wrong. Wow. Logos, Dees, and Starlance. That's exciting. Logos and Starlance together can lead to just some really crazy fast decks. That's where you get your F values in the ARC system. Your F values of 20 plus is when you have Logos and Starlance together. Can be really insane. I'm hoping for some plink damage in both those houses as well, and some decent creatures. In Dees, I'm hoping for some board control as well as some good amber control options. But yeah, this is Constant Irequeen Egorov. First up, we have Harbinger of Doom. That's a 2-power demon with 3 armor, and destroy each creature. That's some board control right there. We got 2 of those. Interesting. And yeah, obviously this is a great way to just totally wipe the board. It can also be a pressure tactic to, signal to the opponent, hey, the board's going to get wiped. I just don't love it in that role because it's so easy for them to trigger it if they want to trigger it. And I think about, like, Key to Dees has this problem too, but only if your opponent has one of a handful of cards that can do it. But there are so many cards that can trigger the Harbinger. It's a dangerous play if you're ahead or if you think you might get ahead. Imp Spectre is a 2-power imp with destroyed, purge a random card from your opponent's hand. There we go. There's our Infernus. Infernus is a 4-power demon with play, purge up to 2 cards from a discard pile, and your opponent loses amber equal to the total amber bonus of the purged cards. That can be really nice. Really nice for removing their combo pieces. Sad to see only one of those. Next up we have Misery Exploit. It's an action that says you gain an amber for each damaged enemy creature. Unless you have a lot of spray damage, this tends to just not do much. So I don't love it as a card. And I'm not loving the deck so far. We'll see what we get, but none of these are cards that I love to see. Partially, I think, because they don't help you go fast. And they're kind of iffy at slowing down your opponent too. Rock Grub is okay. It's a 1-power beast with play. Your opponent loses 1. If it stays alive long enough to reap, then you archive it, and you can do the whole thing again. Got 2 of those. Oh, Gleeful Mayhem. That's good. Gleeful Mayhem is an action with a bonus amber, and it says for each house, deal 5 damage to a creature of that house. There's a couple reasons why it's good. Well, number one, it's just solid. It's solid board control. With the Harbingers, it's likely to be an instant board wipe, right? Because you have 2 of these, you probably are going to get it with 1 of them. And at that point, all you have to do is drop the Harbinger and then play the Gleeful Mayhem, and boom, you've wiped the board. You can even do cool stuff like plink your opponent's ward at the same time as you plink the Harbinger. Well, the ward gets destroyed, and then when the Harbinger goes off, the creature gets destroyed, whereas it previously would have just removed the ward. So that's solid. I wouldn't mind having 2 of those, but I don't get 2. Spider is a 2-power demon with skirmish, and when it's attacking an enemy flank creature, it also gains poison. Lesser Octet is a 3-power demon with elusive. After you play it, you purge each card in your hand, and after it reaps, keys cost +3 during your opponent's next turn. So much like similarity in between this and the last deck I opened. But, I mean, we got a Lesser Octet in that one as well. I'll just say, I think, generally speaking, if you manipulate your hand right, Lesser Octet can be quite good. Depending on the matchup, I might want to even, like, for example, leave Misery Exploit in my hand when I play it so that it gets purged. You can thin out some of the worst cards in your deck that way if you play it right. Dexus is an interesting one, a 5-power demon that says after your opponent plays a creature on their right flank, they lose 1. Dexus is best played in a situation where your opponent, where you just wiped the board, because then they'll have to lose at least one, and then if you can keep killing their creatures and keep their board small, then it gets even worse and they're going to lose a lot of amber, but they're probably going to prioritize killing it at that point. Scientist Bane is an action with a bonus amber that says destroy a scientist creature. Okay, that's interesting. That's all for Dees. Speaking of scientists, though, we're into logos, and now we have Babbling Bibliophile, a 1-power cyborg scientist with Reap, draw 2 cards. If you can keep it on the board, that's a really nice effect. We also have Daughter. I like Daughter better than Babbling Bibliophile because her effect is just constant. She's a 2-power cyborg scientist with elusive, and during your draw card step, you refill your hand to 1 additional card. That's a really nice effect if you can keep it out. Wouldn't have been sad to see a second one, but don't get one. Sanitation Engineer is a 4-power cyborg scientist with hazardous 1. After it reaps, you discard a card from your hand. That can be good filtering in the right circumstances, and we got 2 of those. Interesting, but they're also nice bodies. I mean, a 4-power body in Logos is actually pretty nice. Tau Vapors is an action that says draw 2 cards, archive a card. Yeah, that can be pretty nice. Deck acceleration there. Titan Guardian, also good deck acceleration. It's a 5-power beast and cyborg with 1 armor. It has Taunt, and when it's destroyed, if it's not on a flank, you draw 2 cards. So this is a great way to protect Daughter, Babbling Bibliophile, etc. And when it does blow up, you get those 2 cards, which is really sweet. Wild Wormhole is an action with a bonus amber. When you play it, you play the top card of your deck. Really fun effect, very Logos-y. This has always kind of defined what Logos is in my mind, and I think in a lot of other people's minds as well. Code Monkey is a 3-power AI beast with deploy, and after you play it, you archive each neighboring creature, and if those creatures share a house, you gain 2 amber. That's a nice way to get another play of the Rot Grubs or the Infernus. That's pretty cool. Nothing else so far that I would really want to use it on. Oh, Jargoggle is a 2-power beast and mutant with elusive, and when you play it, you put a card from your hand face down under it, and when it's destroyed, if it's your turn, you play the card under it, otherwise you archive the card. That's really nice. Positrumble, yes, the Plinky damage, is an action with a bonus amber. When you play it, you deal 3 damage to a flank creature, 2 damage to its neighbor, and 1 damage to the third creature. It words it slightly differently, but you're just starting from flank and going 3, 2, 1, going in towards the center. Oh, then we have a Seismo Entangler, very nice artifact that exhausts to choose a house, and during your opponent's turn, creatures of the chosen house cannot be used to reap. Oh, we also have a Pocket Universe, which is a terrible card. This is an artifact that says you can spend amber from it when you're forging keys, and you can exhaust it to move an amber from your pool to it. This protects it from being stolen, etc., but Alright, let's go. So I would just say on the logo side here, there's some acceleration here. If you get the Daughter out, use the Wild Wormhole, there's some decent acceleration. It's not super fast, but it's decent. Let's see what we get in the Star Alliance. Start off with Kirby, who's just solid. Kirby's a 3-power human with play, fight, reap. You may play a non-Star Alliance artifact, upgrade, or action card this turn. That means we can play either of these artifacts, the Positron Bolt, the Wild Wormhole, the Tau Vapors, the Scientist Bane, the Gleeful Mayhem, the Misery Exploit. There's quite a few cards that we could play with it, so that's very nice. We got 2 of those, super cool. Love to have a Kirby's Blaster between them. Explo Rover is a 3-power robot with Skirmish, but it can also be played as an upgrade instead of a creature, and then it gains the text. This creature gains Skirmish. Light of the Archons is an upgrade with a bonus amber, and it gives a creature +1 power and +1 armor for each upgrade attached to it. Very nice. 2 of those. Wow, we're going to have some beefy creatures then. Whew. Red Alert. Ooh, that's decent. That's good board control. Okay, that's looking good. That's an action that says if there are more enemy creatures than friendly creatures, you deal damage to each enemy creature equal to the difference. So you only have 2 creatures out and your opponent has 5. This deals 3 damage to all the enemy creatures, etc. Very nice. Nurse Soto, less excited about him, but that's okay. He's a 3-power human with deploy, so he doesn't have to go in the end of the battle line. He can go anywhere you want. And play, fight, reap, heal 3 damage from each of his neighbors. Anything we think will get 3 damage. Maybe the Titan Guardian, but we probably want it to die. Sanitation Engineer, maybe. Maybe the Dexus, or yeah, I don't see a lot of good targets for it, but we'll see. Something could come up. Quad Recorder is an upgrade that says your opponent's keys cost +1 for each house represented among friendly creatures to a maximum of 3. Interesting note, you can play this on an opponent's creature and it'll still help you. But if you play it on your own with the 2 Light of the Archons and the Explo Rover, you now have a +8 power, +8 armor creature, which is pretty cool. Science Officer Morpheus is a 2-power shapeshifter and scientist with 1 armor. And he says after you play a creature with a play effect, trigger it to play effect an additional time. That's kind of cool. On the Jargoggle, you do put 2 cards under the Jargoggle, but you only get to play 1 of them. Code Monkey could potentially archive 4 things. That could be crazy. And with the Infernus, that's pretty cool. And with the Rock, that's exciting. Huh. That could be pretty good. Stunner is another upgrade. It has a bonus amber and it gives the creature fight, reap. You may stun a creature. Solid board control. Xeno Training is an action with a bonus amber, and it says for each house represented among friendly creatures, a friendly creature captures 1 amber. That's also very nice. Good amber control. And lastly, we have Galactic Census, which is an action with a bonus amber that says if there are exactly 3 or exactly 4 houses represented among friendly creatures in play, gain 1 amber, which will be your second one from this card. And if there are exactly 5, you gain 2 amber. If there are 6 or more, gain 3. So if there are 6 houses on the table, this is a 4 amber card. Probably more likely you're going to end up getting 2 amber from it. On the amber front, that's kind of a lot. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, I'm starting to take it back. 9. That's actually not that much. We're probably going to get an extra one there. So that is actually less than I thought. We're really going to rely on the deck's speed to help us pay this off, but we have a good chance of getting it. If the Morpheus is out, I'm a really happy person. Probably the biggest thing I'm scared about with this deck is just that there aren't a lot of taunt abilities, right? We really just have the Titan Engineer, Titan Guardian. So not a lot of protection, but I mean, wow, you get like a daughter with all these upgrades on her. You're pretty happy. Keep the Morpheus out, and then just play those Rock Grubs and Infernus, and that's pretty cool. I like it. And if you can, I mean, if you play the Infernus with the Morpheus out, and then you archive it with the Code Monkey, and then play it again the next turn, you've gotten 4 Infernus triggers out of a single playthrough, which is, that's pretty good if you can do that. Yeah, so that this seems like a fun deck. I'm excited to play it. I'm not sure how good it is yet, but I'm pretty excited to try it out and see. This was Constant Irequeen Egrov. Hope you enjoyed. I certainly enjoyed showing it to you, and I hope that you will meet me online or meet somebody else online and forge some keys.